Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 58 entitled Humor. Humor plays you more. Well, like usually we're gonna divide in 4 steps this topic, this subject. First of all, we're gonna try to define it, which is quite simple. Secondly, we will see the reason for being of humor in general and the field of application. And third and fourth, we will see different techniques and advice to implement humor in your life in general. Well, before starting, I just would like to do as a teaser in a certain extent. At the end of this video, there will be a short sketch supposed to be humor, supposed to be funny, to express what could be humor and in the sense of putting it into practice, and also to show one of the reasons for being of humor, which is also to convey some messages. Okay, so I invite you to check at the end, or at least to watch this video entirely until the end, of course. All right, so what is humor concretely? I could use different definition. I use mine, okay, for which I split up in 2 parts. The first one is a kind of spirits, okay? It's a kind of mindset, okay, consisting in bringing out the pleasant and unusual aspect of reality with a certain detachment. Okay, so I just repeat, it's a pleasant and unusual aspect of reality with a certain detachment. Secondly, but we could combine as well, is a kind of mockery with lightness, sweetness, okay, depending, to de-dramatize and to convey messages. Okay, so to de-dramatize, okay, to reduce, let's say, the load, the affective load of a situation with a certain detachment, and also to convey some messages, subtly hidden messages, and so on and so forth. We're gonna develop a little bit. This is for defining the concept. Secondly, what's the reason for being and the field of application? 10 steps. First of all, is to have fun, of course. It's to change your mind, okay, first, which is quite obvious. Secondly, it's creates some endorphins, that's to say one of the 4 hormones of happiness, okay? So it's pleasant, it's fun. Secondly, it brings endorphins, hormones of happiness. Third, it's good for health in general. It has been proved and demonstrated with neuroscience that if you laugh a minimum 6 minutes per day, okay, you are more healthy, okay, healthier than other people. Okay, so it's good for health. So you're gonna think, why concretely? But it's simple. This is quite complete process, but when you laugh, it's kind of sport, okay, because you stimulate your body and so on. You oxygenate your brain thanks a kind of a new way of breathing, okay. It's good for digestion, okay, because you stimulate your stomach and so on. Stems from a painkiller also. It's good for sleeping, it's good for heart, okay, immune system because it boosts it, it's good for skin, it's good for longevity, for life in general, lifespan, okay, span, and it's good also to treat schizophrenia. Okay, so once again, it's good for health. Fourth, which is linked, this is good for mood. Good mood, okay, it's good for mindset. It's chicken and egg, okay. Who's first? What is first? Why? Because when you have a kind of sense of humor, or you practice humor, or humor is prevalent in your life, it generates endorphins, as we saw, okay. Secondly, it's kind of Positive mindset. Positive mindset implies high vibration, okay, as we saw many times. Then a good mindset affects your genetics, your genes, your DNA. This is what we call epigenetics. This is the fruit of the research, the work for a few decades, for 30 years, from Bruce Lipton, okay, a great doctor, scientist, officially recognized by his peers, of course, but I invite you to check. This is epigenetics. What does it mean? Your mindset impacts, okay, the quality of your mindset impacts positively, negatively your DNA. Your DNA impact your functioning, your metabolism of your whole entire body. So keep this in mind. So humor is a part of the process of neuroscience, of epigenetics, and or neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means plasticity, it means elasticity, okay, flexibility of your brain. If you use always the same path, you accelerate. You make it as a second nature. This is what we saw when you ruminate all the time, or when you are positive, you change this connections, this neuronal connection, and so on. Okay, so everything is linked. I told you before, everything is interconnected. That's really important. So it's good for mood. Okay, then it's a good way to, let's say, to de-dramatize, as we say before, certain moments of life. I give you different examples. I wrote a book, the name is about death, that I will probably translate, death, and I will play death like this, and death, trade pacing, okay, dying. And this is a character, but let's say it's inspired by real life, okay? So for the funeral, okay, at the beginning, so it's never fun, of course. So it's kind of dramatic, and the grandson is doing a speech for the funerals of his grandfather, and he say, okay, it's a good sign. I see a lot of tears, and I think it's a good sign. Why? Because if he had been a asshole, nobody would cry for him. Okay, so it's to de-dramatize. So everybody is laughing, of course, not like hilariously, but it's not hilarious. But let's say they laugh, and okay, it reduces a little bit the dramatic dimension. You have a good movie for that. It's an Italian movie from. He had, by the way, the reward in Cannes in 90s is Bellini. Okay, in Italian is La vita è bella. Okay, I put the translation. Life is beautiful, probably, and it's very well done and subtle, and it's without spoiling the movie, but I invite you to watch it because it's really delicate. It's really well done. It's about Shoah, so the dramatic dimension of an Italian Jewish family deported, okay, into to camps, Nazi camps, and the father tried to preserve his son, and he pretend to him, okay, like this is a big game, okay, so he tried to do a kind of game of the situation for which there is a reward at the end, a tank, and so on. And it's so touching because for preserving the kid, and it's a fiction, of course, but he really used a good dosing between drama and also blasphemy, and also a lack of respect and so on for the victims of Shoah and so on. But I invite you to watch it because, and the impact, of course, once again, is humor, but it's not hilarious, of course not. It's just, but it's really touching. So the effect is also like this. You can de-dramatize. Okay, sometimes yes, it's good when you have a hard, news to use humor. That's why, by the way, if by extension there is different kinds of humor, we'll see later, but one of them is quite well known, Jewish humor. And why concretely is so powerful, subtle, and so on? Because if you check, analyze, and do some research regarding Jewish communities with a S, different tribes around the world, in different countries, and especially Europe, because it was not the case in Arabic countries like Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt. It was good cohabitation. But in Europe in general, and it's not only in 30s, I mean during the Nazi period, it's a very long process, okay? It's like, scapegoats. Jewish communities have been always perceived like this. And among the different centuries, okay, from since almost 2 millenniums, okay? So there was a plague, there was pest, and so on. It was always the fault of Jewish people. That's why there was so many pogroms. Pogroms, the name pogroms comes from Russia, Russian, and so it was in Russia, from in Eastern Europe, in France, in England, in Spain, in Portugal, when they have been kicked out during Inquisition and so on. So ghetto, the term ghetto comes from Italian, because they were out of the giro, I think it was a giro to say the suburb, and it was out of the city, to not mix the population, because they were attacking on many horrible stories, which were lies, of course. So, but the fact they had a special humor like this, it was for them to survive in a certain extent. Okay, so that's why humor is really powerful as well, to de-dramatize, as I said before. Then is a way to reduce stress. We saw in previous key 55 how to reduce stress is a part of it. Okay, when you start a meeting, a conference, and so on, most of the time is Anglo-Saxon way. You send a joke and you reduce your own stress because you see the audience laughing, and then you catch their attention. Okay, when you do that also for a meeting, for example, when it's for diplomacy, when it's for conflict management, it can be for a family round table, or can be, I don't know, for a management association, whatever. People, they are arguing and they are fighting and so on. You just want round the table. You want to put every argument, every animosity on the table to discharge. I mean, to discharge in the sense to neutralize the bad energy. Okay, so you can start with a joke, saying, okay, do you need some boxing gloves, for instance? Can be, you see, or it allows, when you laugh, it's you distress the process, okay, and you are more on a good basis to start to discuss. Okay, so this reduce stress. It allows to convey some messages. You will see at the end with the sketch I did. Of course, it's not hilarious, but it's supposed to be subtly for conveying some messages and something I have here. But it's always easier to say with humor instead. You can do also if someone instead of blaming officially someone by shouting, by crying, and so on, when you say subtly with a smile and with humor, it's not completely direct, but is kind of sarcasm. I'll give you an example. If someone attacked me on social media and so on, and I just not constructive, but completely a direct attack and saying this is bullshit what you say and so on, or blah blah blah, I can just reply with humor saying, oh, thank you so much for your very smart and peaceful and harmonious message. even with that, you just reply like this with humor, and normally the person, you convey a message saying, instead of giving back, the force, giving back a punch back, you show a different face. This is the second face. This is the subtle message when Jesus show a second check. It's not to receive a second punch. It's just to show another face and more subtle. Okay, a word to the wise, as we say in English. Okay, so this is can be a good way for transmitting messages. It's a good way as well to insert colors into sometimes a black and white life. Okay, gloomy life. This is really prevalent nowadays. That's why I insist so much in low vibration, negative mind, criticism, and so on. All this affects the awakening, the ascent of your high vibration, to rise your vibration, and so on. And when you watch news in general, wherever the country, this is always in loop. Okay, negative aspect and so on. So it allows to insert sometimes colors in a black and white life. It can be a kind of, it's subtle most of the time. It's not direct. It can be, you have to underline or to read under, the lines. Okay, it's not straight to the point. Is indirect when you play with the words, for example, or when you have sarcasm, when you have caricature, when you have a parody, when you have a self-mockery, and so on and so forth. Okay, maybe you know the French poet La Fontaine. Okay, well, just to tell the truth, he borrowed, he borrowed most of his poems from Arabic and Persian poems. Okay, but anyway, he used poems with animals to depict absurd, ridiculous, stupid situation currently at his epoch, at his period of time. So, for example, I say randomly, but the lion could be the king, and instead of laughing, having mockery or attack directly towards the king, and for which he would have been executed and killed immediately, he used subtly some animals. Okay, and it was a very, it was a political weapon. All right, this is something very important. In the totalitarian, in the dictatorships in general, the permission of humor is very narrow. It's really small. Okay, and we can value the scope and let's say the room of freedom of speech, thanks to humor as well. A lot of dictatorship countries, they don't allow humorists, or they cannot criticize the regime, otherwise they go to jail. Okay, so it's a kind of indicator of freedom of speech. Is for me very, very important. Then last point I wanted to mention, most, not to say all of them, but most of prophets and sage in general, wise men and wise man and wise woman, they were fun. They used humor to convey the messages, to teach, to preach, and so on and so forth. Yes, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and so on and so forth. Okay, Buddha as a proof, the laugher or laughing Buddha, what is it concretely? Is exactly the illustration of the fact he was laughing as well. And it was not, it not has been Siddhartha, the character. Buddha is just a state of mind, is like Christ, is not belonging exclusively to Buddha, Siddhartha, this character, is a state of mind that everybody is invited to access with his illumination, awakening, and so on. Same for Christ, is a state of mind, not belonging to Jesus, Christ. Once again, I insist. But anyway, just to avoid confusion. So, and by the way, so Siddhartha, he did actually, he applied the middle path, the middle way, after having a revelation, right? But at the beginning, he was just till 29 years old. He lost his son and so on, and he was living in the fast. I mean, in the golden life and so on. He was rich and so on. No, not paying attention to any existential question. But when he left his son, who died, he tried to start an inner journey, and during 8 years he was trying to access to something bigger, higher, and so on, to have a certain detachment. And he's starting from an extreme, like say materiality and so on, till an extreme ascese, you know, fasting all the time. He was losing all his teeth. He was like this and so on. It was too much. And one day he had the revelation, because he heard by synchronicity that there was a sitar, you know, the music instruments, with a teacher teaching to the students. If your chord is too strength, it risks to be to break. And if it's not enough, okay, you know, straight, it will not emit any sounds. And by this moment, he just realized that it was exactly the message for him. Too much materiality was not enough, okay, so no sound, and too much, he could break. So, and then he applied the middle way, and the middle way is a good match between spirituality, materiality, humor, and so on. Humor, indeed, can be used for preaching, for sacred things and so on, but for everything actually. Once again, this is what I say many times. When a drunkard penetrates a tavern, it remains a tavern. When a believer, let's say a spiritual person, penetrates, enters in a tavern, it becomes a temple. Why? Because you contemplate. Contemplate means that you open up the inner temple. Because in your eyes, in your state of mind, you open up the sacred dimension. This is what I try to explain and to convey with you with this notion of holy style of life. It's the holistic dimension, interconnecting everything, okay? Every types of matters, disciplines, and so on. But beyond of that, so materialistic, spiritual, combining everything, science, art, spirituality, everything. But beyond of that is the fact that there is no limits, okay, physical limits between the temple and, I mean, it's not, okay, I go to church, I go to synagogue, I go to mosque, I go to temple, and I become, let's say, spiritual at this moment, and then I go out and then it's finished. No, it's every time, everywhere, everything. Okay, even when you play football, when you do sport and so on, everything could be spiritual. That's the point, because it's a state of mind. That's the real crucial point. So I do think indeed that everything can be used for humor. You know, this is something Mozart, the great compositor, okay, from Austria, says, I don't like those who don't have humor, sense of humor. They are not serious people, okay? And this is something that I say to the big boss when I was working for a company, when I was starting my career. I was 25 years old, and it was like a big conference with, you know, like big meeting, and you have to present your figures, your results, your forecast, and so on, your strategy, blah, blah, blah. And I was using humor like this, but it was quite rigid, you know, like old school a little bit. And suddenly he say, okay, and you are always laughing and joking like this? And I say this sentence. I say, I don't like people without a sense of humor. They are not serious people. And everybody in the audience, they just look at me like, you know, maybe also my heart beats should be almost aligned with that and synchronized with this. And most of people say, what he say it in the sense that it's really this kind of small dictator that he is in a good mood, he deified you or he kill you immediately, okay? And killing you means you're fired a few days later for any stupid remark or any pretext, okay? Because it's very easy, especially in a buying central, because you have a lot of responsibility anyway. So, and you just say, okay, so talking about me, okay, you have humor, talented, and also with culture, because I say it was Mozart. And at this moment, it was like this. It was okay, but the same situation, because he was in a bad mood, and it was that, and I was fired. But just to say that, okay, is a way, and I like this sentence because it's true. People without sense of humor, they're sometimes boring, honestly. Those who I know, those who pretend, the knowers, we could call them the knowers, okay? I don't know if it exists in English, but at least it would be a neologism. But the knowers, they know. Okay, but all what I know is that I don't know. It's Socrates. Because the more you know and the more you see that there is so many things. And this is what we can see also in awakening process, new era, new age dimension, and so on. Some people, they just started and they pretend and they think they think they have a diploma of awakening and they want to. Okay, that's fair enough, and it becomes fun. So what I try to tell you is, yes, we can use humor even in spirituality, all types of things. I like this sentence. Is from Václavic, is a Polish philosopher, very almost unknown, not very famous, Václavic. And this is a great professor I had when I was doing my studies. I was 21 years old, half of my path, my way. Now I'm 42. And is the following, just translation. Life is a game for which the first role is to say that it is not a game. I try to say again. Life is a game for which the first role is to say that it is not a game. And this is quite deep. Okay, try to think about it. And this is quite deep. It allows me to perceive world differently. Okay? What I like to say is something further and is full of, we could discuss, is one sentence that I have, and you can have access for free because all my books are free access. One is Synthesis of Saint Theses first, and secondly you have the sentence Sage Passage Utopia. Okay, so I will put the references, but the sentence is the following. As a deep believer, I believe that God has an infernal sense of humor and even created the humankind as his image by auto-derision. What does it mean? It means that, yes, I do think that God has more humor than a lot of his own creatures, that sometimes they have no sense of humor on behalf of him. That's the worst, okay? Because God created humor as well. So why he could not have a sense of humor for himself? I have self-mockery. Sometimes I'm laughing about myself. So I had this notion since I'm a kid. Okay, it's personal intimacy, but I don't see God as a judge giving me a reward if I do good and so on, and I do for that. No, I try to do my best because it's a good feeling to do good. And also I just love God in the sense of love. This is, for me, God embodies love. Okay, so I credit him, quote unquote him, this concept. The more I do good and the more I love in general, and I share and so on and so forth, although I try to convey with you. So why should be in a strange relationship of fear, of, it's not my vision and my feeling. It's just personal. But so, yes, those who are always criticizing, judging, because this is the law, this is the religion. This is yes, but don't you think it's interpretation? Don't you? My interpretation as well. I have my own, but I like the self-mockery because it's a kind of self-analysis. I can laugh about all what I do for my messages and so on. I love, I have friends, they are absolutely not spiritual. And sometimes we have a good moment of laugh with what my vision and so on, because I can completely, by empathy, understand those who are completely out of this. Okay, and it's fun. And it's not an attack, it's not an offense, it's just fun. So I think it's the same for all this. I love also this sentence from Sami Mikhael, is an Israeli philosopher and writer. He said the following, for me is really wisely said: no tomb, no synagogue, no mosque, no church are more sacred than the laugh of joy from kindergartens. So what does it mean? It means that he considered that kids playing, laughing is more sacred, is more important than a spiritual building. And I do think the same, because spirituality is everywhere, with love, with love, with fun. As long as you are in harmony with unity, you find it back, this unity, Y-O-U-nity, the unity within yourself, universe. You recompose the different pieces of the puzzle game. And that's the point. This is unity, and thereby unity, what does it mean? It means the absolute is when you come back to the absolute, where we are coming from. Okay, this is just my perception. Okay, and I can tell you that indeed sometimes I think that it's a pity that we are missing clearly humor, especially in spirituality. So because it's like we can have this craziness, madness, spontaneity in spirituality as well. I think so, and sometimes it's boring when you have only namaste, always like this. Come on, you don't want to have fun a bit? It's a little bit heavy, and it's the same principle we will see in the next keys: sexuality, next one, and love. It's the same principle. Okay, there is a moment for everything. I do agree. When you pray, you're, for example, completely involved, like with a protocol, a respectful things, and so on. Yeah, it's a good. Like you have a romance, you say a poem, and so on, and nobody gonna interrupt you saying, this is bullshit. Of course not. There is moment for everything. Okay, but it's good also for sex to have fun sometimes, to play. Same for love. Okay, and for me, it's exactly the same for spirituality. Once again, it's my perception, is not the truth. This is absolute truth is the sum of the subjective truth. Okay, so this is only one piece of it. It's only my vision, humble vision. You do whatever you want with that. 3 essential points before starting the techniques. First, once again, this is the extension of what I said. Everything is subjective. So humor is definitely subjective. Okay, this is fun or not, depending on your taste, depending to your sensitivity, depending if you're part of it or not. If there is humor towards you, maybe it's less funny than for someone else. Who knows? Or if it's towards your community and so on, your nationality and so on and so forth. Personally, I love jokes on French people. I'm going to tell you one, for example. This is from Canadian. And I find it very interesting and very good. So it's not because I'm French that I feel offended, This is the following. It's a joke, of course. God created the world and the beautiful landscape and so on and so forth. He created France, and with everything. Like amazing landscape, the food, the beauty, the romance, blah, 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 and so on. Okay. And then he said, no, it's not fair because it's not balanced with the other countries in the world. So to compensate, because it was too high, he said, okay, we're gonna create French people. Just to say that French people are so perceived as arrogant, sometimes proud and so on, protesting all the time and so on. So complicated, let's say, that he created like this. Okay, well, of course it's a joke, but kind of, it can be, it can be. And once again, there is no only one, like a unity French people, there is no American people, there is not only, there is individuals, of course. But so just to tell you, even if I'm part of the game, even if I'm part of this joke, I think it's funny. Okay, so of course, even by saying that, I can have a joke regarding my beliefs. Those I respect, those I admire, a joke towards them, and I don't feel offended because it's just for humor. A word to a wise. I probably think that you will understand. There in the second point, there is different uses for humor. I say it can be political, it can be religious, it can be just showing the freedom of speech and so on. Okay, different uses. Then, this is one of the key questions. Can we laugh of everything? Question mark. This common reply is usually, yes, we can, but not with everybody. Okay, so I don't reply. I just invite you to think about it. But the thing is, personally, as long as it doesn't offend, it doesn't hurt anybody, it's fine. Of course, if you're laughing about someone with handicap and so on, of course, in front of this person, it's bad because it's I mean, it's not beautiful. The person will suffer and so on. But everybody is laughing each other. We are always, but it's a part of the game. It's a part of the game. If we accept that, but for this, we need to accept it as self-mockery as well. But anyway, just I invite you to think about it. Can we laugh at everything? Yes, no, depending maybe with who. Okay, so different techniques. Okay, try to identify and advise. Try to identify which type of humor you like and types of humorists as well. Okay, this is important because it's kind of you know, a kind of mindset, trait of spirit in a certain extent. Is also smartness in a certain extent because some of them are very subtle. This is more dark humor, you know, like sarcastic, like gore. Okay, once again, this is not pretending. This is your taste. You like junk food, is your taste. It's not good or bad. It's your taste. Okay, then a good mix, but up to you. Okay, don't try to. I mean, it's not the goal. Is not to create a character that you're not. Okay, if you don't feel aligned with that, it's not the point. Okay, it can be dark humor. Secondly, it can be a pee and poo, you know, some farting and so on. Personally, I don't really like necessarily this type of humor, but I respect the kids. They love that. When you say to a 4-year-old, I don't know, you are an ass, or you look like you are a fart, and so just the word fart, because it's forbidden, it makes them laugh, you know. Okay, so, and some adults, they like this type of humor. It's up to anybody. It can be more subtle with refined humor, you know, as I told you, Jewish humor, which is quite subtle, British English, let's say British humor, okay, and this is a French humor, and I understand why, because I lived there for 1 year. I can admit that due to the weather, it's so horrible that it's definitely better that they use humor to survive. It's a joke, of course. Another joke, if you want also. Do you know how you say enjoy your meal in English in England? Of course, you're gonna say good appétit, bon appétit, and so on. No, good luck. Why? Because food is so. No, I'm kidding. It's not true, by the way. It's just, you know, same. It's. I love. I enjoy so much my stay in England. And I really appreciate the English people and British people and everybody. But that's, of course. But I love the sense of humor. It's not for everybody, because sometimes it's completely crazy, like Monty Python and so on. This is once again, you like, you don't like. Some people don't understand, don't catch anything, to be honest with you. But honestly, my best moment I was laughing like crazy was in England, because really this is really special, subtle. Anyway, when you have mind games, like you play on the words and so on, all this type of things, it's more delicate, refined and so on, but it's another way of sense of humor. This is by extension what we have in the language of bird. Language of bird is in all mysticism. You can use a subtle message through the language. Okay, it is playing on words, but I give you one, for instance, just one. The wake up, awakening. Okay, the wake up, the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is a wake up, the wake up, this kind of thing. Or there is many like this. But when I say universe or universal, U-O-Y-O, universal, soul, this kind of thing, this is playing on the words, and this is subtle. This is not necessarily humor here, but it can be also. This is just to illustrate. Joke about sex. Okay, this can be funny. Sometimes, personally, I like it. I mean, like everybody, I think, with friends and so on. Yeah, sometimes when it's more, brotherhood, like male. Sometimes, of course, it's around that. Don't pretend and so on. It's just not always, because sometimes it pisses me off. After a while, you want to. I need to change, but once again, it's my own. Can be, quite heavy sometimes, a bit low level in the sense of, John Doe, okay, like Homer Simpson, this type of humor which is low level, but it doesn't matter, low level towards what, okay, intellectual and so on, no words, we don't care. If it's funny for you, it's fine. Or teenager stuff like jackass or whatever. Can be parody, okay, can be imitation, can be, absurd. Absurd is UNESCO, sorry, is a Romanian writer, and one of them is the dinosaur, and is depicting what's happened in the period of 30s with the arrival of fascism, Nazism, racism in general, and so on. So he used absurd, but English humor uses a lot of absurd things, and for me, it's fun, and it's another degree of subtlety. Some people, they say, "What the fuck? It's not funny," or "I don't understand anything." Okay, because it's not direct to the point, of course. So once again, try to see the different types: the Monty Python, the Simpsons, South Park, Jackass, whatever. Up to you, of course. This is something that we have, especially in France, in Europe in general, and we have a tendency to homogenize, and for social equilibrium, to avoid to laugh about everything, and there is some taboos, some words almost forbidden, and I think it separates more than it's not necessarily in favor of the trend. What do I mean? I think it can create frustration, the fact not to be able to laugh about everything. That's my point. And once again, this is the proof I tried to tell you before. You can criticize my nationality, my origins, my way, my accent, what I am concretely, and that's fair enough. Okay, if it's not, of course, aggressive and so on, it's not the point. But this is something, once again, it can be a tool. I told you before, La Fontaine, he uses poems for criticizing the power, okay, at this period of time. This is what I said for previously, Charles the Ninth. He changed his in 60th century. That's why 1st of April is day of jokery. It's come from this period of time because it changed the calendar starting the new year 1st of January, which was artificial, because in all civilization, wherever they were, the beginning of the year, the beginning of the cycle, most of the time, was spring, okay, around 23rd of March, okay. He changed and he imposed as institutional reform to the people to apply like this, but nobody was following, okay, on the calendar and so on. But they kept this tradition, this culture, to celebrate for 1 week this spring arrival and so on, the rebirth of nature as a symbol, and also finishing on the 1st of April. So when we do that nowadays, it's just as a mockery from child the knife. Okay, so keep as a knife. This word as this, the word as a sword. This is playing on the word, for example. But anyway, I think you understood. Another way for humor activating, implementing in your life is, for example, to watch sketch, okay, regularly on nights, to relax, to disconnect. It allows to avoid, in loop, the news, breaking news, violence, murders, wars, blah, blah, blah. You know better than me. This is 99% negative. So to refresh your mind, watch some sketch that you like, for instance. Read some comics and or some joke books, okay, for bringing you this state of mind. This is important. Another one, this is not conventional, this is me who suggests that. Try to listen to type of YouTube on YouTube or wherever, stupid laughing, stupid laugh, for example. And you will see some people doing a pig like this kind of thing, or I don't know. Sorry. When I was young, I was laughing with my best friend. We were a kid, 8 years old and so on, because his father was always laughing like crazy. Like doing, for example, and we were laughing like crazy for nothing, but just for that. Okay, so just because it's what we call communicative laugh. Okay, so try to type on internet and you will find some of them. So they will activate this process of laughing. This is a good way. Then another way is the laughing therapy. This is more and more common. It's the fact to force yourself and to do with alone or with people. Why? Because at the beginning it's artificial, as a matter of fact. But the more you are doing it, and sometimes if you don't do it properly, it's even funny. Okay, I can show you, but I don't do. I mean, I'm not good at that. Huh? So. Well, you can see it's not well done, but the fact that it is not well done can be funny for yourself and for other people. If you do and start your day with only 1 minute like this, I swear to you that your way will be full of light and will be different. Why is so important? Because your brain doesn't see the difference between fiction and reality. That's really important. Try to adopt, this is another technique, try to adopt the philosophy of hidden camera and or parody. What does it mean? Sometimes you think that it's cumulative. You wake up and you say, what? It's a joke or what? So you have so many bad news and so on, or it's some remarks and so on, or you watch the news and so on and you say, what the blah blah, and you say it's incredible. So the fact to say to yourself, it's a parody, okay, understood, there is a hidden camera and so on, this is to make me laugh at the end, right? Or to laugh altogether. We can consider, some people consider what we live currently is kind of big parody, okay? And sometimes when you see the mankind, the human beings, when you see history, you can say it's an enormous joke, okay? So we say in French, the best joke are usually the shortest one. Keep it in mind. What does it mean? It would be great to stop, okay, maybe because, okay, we laugh enough, okay, if you see what I mean, of course. But what I try to tell you is exactly the same principle you can see in different movies. 3 of them are for me very good for that. The first one is the Vice. Okay, the Vice is depicting the Bush administration with the invasion of Afghanistan, the event of Twin Towers and so on, attacked, and then anthrax and so on, the fake, which is a realistic history facts of the in Iraq, you know, the nuclear response and so on. But anyway, just and is really well done because it's about Dick Cheney being the master of the puppets who is Bush, and is really sarcastic, very sarcastic. It means there is narration sometimes and saying thing, but it's funny, it's fun. Of course, it's not hilarious, you're not laughing like crazy, but it's well done. This is the same realizator who made a second movie is The Big Shot, depicting the subprime crisis. Okay, and same, it's really subtle, and it allows to give a message. There is a documentary recently I watched was about the manual for dictators. Okay, so you say, oh, okay, it seems to be, and they tried to use sarcasm. Why? Because otherwise it would have been undigested. It was too much. You want to vomit because these people are psychopaths. So the goal, of course, when they say the guidelines to be a good dictator is sarcastic. They don't want by doing that people become dictators. Of course not. Okay. So, but that's the point. Another one recently I watched is with DiCaprio. Look up. Don't look up. And okay, it's funny or not funny, depending but it's a good way to depict what's happening now. You know, so it's a parallel, without spoiling the movie, parallel with something arriving on Earth to destroy it within 6 months and climate change, okay? And nobody care in the movie. And in reality, most of people are in the movie, but in reality also, prefer focusing on the materialistic vision and so on, liking, she's with him, he's with her, broke up and so on. You know, all this, bullshit, but reality, but yeah, you say, okay, so where are the existential questions? What we're gonna do? What's the meaning of life? And so on, all this existential question, you know, that's, you type on internet, awakening, all these words, keywords, awakening and so on. There is so few researches. And if you type sex and so on, all this type of thing, fun, you will find many things. So when we say, the reality is due to the deep states and I don't know, the bad darkness, and it's up to anybody to do his own education and to do their own research. Nobody can go to toilets for us. Okay, so the process of awakening is awakening in general for everything, lucidity, discernment, and so on, regarding key 46, a word to the wise. Okay, so anyway, then very important as a technique and a device also to surround with, to have friends and a network with sense of humor, the same humor than you, of course. I told you I have different types of cluster groups of people. Some of them, they are only spiritual. Some of them, they are absolutely not spiritual. Some of them, they are just, when I see them, I know it will be only for fun. We will have a great fun, only that, and that's fair enough. But at least to have some people, a minimum, with sense of humor, it's good for health in general. To do sometimes some small shows and sketch with kids, your kids or kids in general, try to do association, improvisation, to go for a hospital and so on and so forth. Try to be inspired by learning jokes, okay, in a dinner and so on. Sometimes it's good when there is a period of jokes. Okay, round table and everybody has to say. And some people, they cannot explain a joke, so it's badly explained. So it's even funnier. You know, what is funny is the fact that person cannot tell properly a story. Doing, for example, grimace, face, you know, stuff like this that you can do with a kid, for example, or imitate someone. Imitate someone, try to do it. Personally, I'm super bad at this, but when I do it, if I feel myself, I say, "Wow, what's horrible!" And sometimes it makes me fun. Or when you do with someone, it's like a battle, you know, a kind of competition, and the goal is because you will laugh about the bad interpretation, the bad imitation, or imitate someone that you know, your best friend, you imitate it. So you will exaggerate, of course, his mimics and so on, his behavior and so on. It can be fun as well. Okay. Take humor lesson. This is a joke, of course, but it exists, by the way. I'm not so sure that it can work as like a seduction lesson and so on. It exists, but I'm not sure it work so much. Watch this sketch. After, it's kind of improvisation. I have some ideas, but I don't want to write and so on. I don't want it too much prepared. It's exactly what we do and I invite you to do for being more comfortable, self-confident and so on. The more you do, you can do for yourself, you can film yourself and so on, you can do with people. It's like improvisation theater, and it's a good tool to express yourself and so on. And within this, of course, it's not hilarious, but it will be not hilarious, but at least I try to inject some ideas and to convey some messages. Okay, a word to wise. Of course, no need to precise. This is humor, so it's not an attack to anybody. It's just to be fun and to put it into practice what I try to teach and to transmit you once again. I will conclude in a certain extent as a conclusion to use Osho. Okay, Osho will say wisely for me, which is simple sentence. Life as such as to be taken as a cosmic joke. And then suddenly you relax because there is nothing to be tense about. And in that very relaxation, something starts changing within you. What does it mean, to make it short and simple? As long as you put into practice what I said before, the parody and the fact that this is just life is a game for which the first word says a game, it allows to have a certain detachment. Doesn't mean you don't care about everything when there is wars and of course. But the fact to have a certain detachment allows you to survive and to live more intensively at the end, of course. So, I invite you to think about all these elements. This is only one key for helping you to shape your own master key, to open up the door that you want of love, of awakening and so on, of consciousness. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome and to home. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon. Hey, you, yes, you watch this video is because you're special, you have been elected. Well, I hope you're fine. My name is Steven. Why? Because Steven, you have heaven, okay, because I'm gonna present you, introduce yourself, and also to present you the paradise. Okay, I'm gonna sell you some dreams and to make your dreams come true. Yeah, first of all, I would like that you like this video and also you subscribe. This is the most important thing. Whatever you like, you don't like, we don't care. The most important is that you like it and you subscribe. Why? For me to make money. Come on. All right. So today I'm gonna try to explain you a little bit about my awakening. Okay, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time because I know that your span attention is quite short and you have a lot of things to do. Time is money, as we say. Okay, so I will try to move a lot like this. Your attention is fixed on myself and you will not sleep again. Okay, all right. So actually, I'm gonna debunk my awakening. Okay, I'm gonna share with you my experience. Why? Because I think it's very important for you to be awakened. Okay, so let's start. Actually, how does it how it's happened to me, okay? So because I have quite a lot of experience, that's why I do this these videos to help you, of course. It's not for you to be jealous, and don't be like this. It's not my fault. Don't reproach the mirror to see your ugliness. Huh? It's not my fault. But the thing is that I started my awakening. So I'm officially awakened for quite a long time, almost 2 years. The proof is that I received the the reward of the awakener, or the illuminated, or let's say the insider of the year 2020. You can see, yes madame, yes monsieur. Okay, so second one in 2021, and then 2022, yes. And I already received 2023 in advance. Why? Because I think they want to give me for all life, you know. It's not my fault if I'm awakened. Okay, so how did happen to me? Concretely, I'm gonna try to make it short, but story short, but actually this is maybe I'm sure that you will not understand, because you're not capable and you're not aware enough for understanding. But anyway, let's try to do it. So basically it was 20 of March 2020. Okay, it was 8 p.m. 20. So for us, as I'm French, excuse my French, nobody is perfect. So it was 2020, okay, 2020 years, and it was, for the time, it was 2020. So I just wake up, okay, I was sleeping because, to be honest with you, I was a little bit, because of the lockdown and so on, a little bit down with the lockdown. And actually it was the beginning of the pandemic, and I've been fired for economical reasons and so on. And I was not this type of person to think too much, you know. For me, life was really easy going. I was just doing I like you know, doing party, let's say, what else, girls, of course, porn. Oops, sorry. I like for instance football. I like things like video games, this kind of thing. And I'm quite like this. I'm always in the let's say in the rush and so on. Nothing really time to ask some key questions and so on. I'm not this type of a person, you know, like arrogant and so on. No, I'm not like this. But at this moment, I just woke up, okay, and I just realize we realize the real lies, you know, of the illusion of the word. The word is an illusion, ill, sick, like a sickness, and I just was ill in a certain extent. You know, it was like I was overwhelmed with a lot of knowledge coming from somewhere else and someone else, okay? And I was like guide, and I just wake up and I said to myself, I think, therefore I am, okay? And then also to be or not to be, what is the question? And then I just realized just I was questioning the sense of life, the meaning of life, and so on, and why we are here. What about death, and so on. Probably the pandemic, you know, shaped my mind. But I say it was really weird, because I said to myself, what about death? What is death? I was sleeping before. It was a metaphor. Things was existing despite of the fact I was sleeping. What about death? The death can die. Life is aware about living and so on, you know, like crazy question like this. And I was like this, overwhelmed with a lot of questions like this. So I was a little bit scared, to be honest with you. But fortunately, in a certain extent, you know, life at this moment is like you're vibrating, and thereby you're attracting, you know, like magnets. And the best friend of my mom, Yolanda, she explained me the notion, the word synchronicities, because I received lots of information, I had a lot of connection, everything was interconnected and so on. And there was kind of a common field in a certain extent, a common thread. And she was explaining me, because she actually she was before, you know, working for a company. She was independent, but she was doing a Tupperware, you know, meetings like selling plastic box and so on. But due to a pandemic, she has no job anymore. So she shifted to quantum and quantic therapy. So she became, because she followed a very interesting, apparently, with Procter and Gamble, a kind of brainwashing. This is quite interesting training, because it costs $9,999 for something like, it's quite short, it's like 9 hours, something like this, and then you are quantic therapists, and you can so she tried to explain me, but she eat quantic, she sleep quantic, she always talk about quantic. Okay, she tried to explain me, I didn't really understood, to be honest with you. I think she didn't explain well, probably, because if I didn't understand, that's obvious. But concretely, to make it short, she explained me that from the emptiness we can do a lot of things, and we can be fulfilled. Okay, emptiness makes fulfillment, something like this, okay, to make it short. All right, so then thanks to her, I understood the notion of synchronicity. So when I said to you this, it was incredible. Like, I was doing some research on internet, and immediately I had some suggestion, like, okay, proposing me another video in the same axis of what I just researched before, or things like, I don't know, mirroring hours. I was for example, checking in the mirror, my alarm clock, it was written 11:11, and I just realized that, with the symmetry in the mirror or here, it was the same, because you cannot reverse. And things like this, and then I was so observing, like 11:11, and after I was waiting for 1 minute, and then 11:11:12, and then 1 minute more, it was 11:11:13, and then 14, and then 15, and then I just realized that it was completely well done. Time was with a certain order, yes. So I was always absorbed. I had lots of information with numerology and so on and so forth, this kind of thing. Or I was opening a book, because I could not read, my attention span was like 10 seconds. I was overwhelmed with information. I could not be concentrate. And most of the time, it was very often that it was written, if you read this book, like, a very strong voice, like in a movie and so on. If you read this book, it's because you are at this right place at the right moment, and so on. So I said, wow, it's incredible. God is everywhere and so on. Everything is interconnected and so on. It was fascinating, but it was impossible to explain that to anybody. So I thought, to be honest with you, that I was nuts, that I was crazy, that I was completely, dummy in a certain extent. So I went to see a psychoanalyst, and she tried to she tried to reassure me, to saying that it was completely normal. There was no synchronicity. It was just basic coincidence, like research on internet suggestion was only algorithm. Then she said to me, but the fact you read in a book maybe there are lots of other books like this, but you don't read them. So obviously those who read this immediately. And I say, oh yeah, maybe, and so on. And then she said to me, for numerology, you can just watch the movie 23 with Jim Carrey. And I say, no, why should I watch this movie? Jim Carrey, he did just dummy a number. So I just, I decipher her messages. Certain messages was telling me, you are dummy, okay? And she wanted what I understood after, that she was part of, the Kabbalah, the notion of the hidden force, the invisible darkness forces, and she wanted to destroy my awakening. You know why? Because she was jealous first. She wanted to maintain the 3D matrix, for her to maintain the power, and also for her to maintain the money and so on. And I realized with real eyes, the real lies, through a name. Yeah. You know why? You know what I mean, huh? She was part of this sectum in a certain extent. And why? Because if she destroyed my awakening. The word cannot be aware and cannot be awakened. That's why. So, but I just realized that the word was awakening, vibrating, and was ready for that, waiting for me, only me, to do this awakening. So everything was vibrating, resonating within me, without me, universe, and so on. Even those people that I couldn't understand before. You know, for instance, the Belgium actor Van Damme. Van Damme is in French means Van Damme. Dam means soul. And when he speaks, I don't know if you see in English the subtlety, but in French, when he talks, okay, he's mixing a little bit English, and but that's because he's cool, or maybe he doesn't have a space for both language, I don't know. But anyway, just he's completely aware, and he's always saying that you are aware. And if you see, it's a kind of upper self talking through him, or he's talking, well, anyway, I don't know, but the thing is, he's a master, he's an insider, and I just realized that a lot of people were like this. And so I can give you some tips. For example, it was my own one. This one was excellent, okay, for making my awakening. This, in French, we call that awakening map. Yes, awakening map. You know, for even to get her, to recover, to gain back your inner child, for instance. But this allowed me a lot. I tried to read, to be honest with you. So this, you can find it in Mark Expensive, for example, or Galeries Lafayette, for example, in France, and so on. In all massive distribution shops like Carouf, or maybe someone else, and so on. I will put in the rubrics later. The more I say these names, the more I get money, you know? That's why. So I say again, Mark's Expensive, or for example, Toys R Us, you know, this one is a very good one. Go to buy a lot. And you have a coupon at the end of 0.001% for free. And if you have this access, you use my coupon, I earn a lot of money. Yes, like this. The freak. C'est chic. Yes, it is. Well, so let's continue. So I tried to read some books like Awakening for Dummies, but to be honest with you, I didn't understand anything. And probably because they just want to confuse us, you know, like they just want to destroy the awakening period with a lot of culture and so on. They want to show they know and so on. And so I say, no way, I do my own way. Yes, I do. So I just try. The only book I read, I mean, half of it, it's Noddy, you know, Noddy and the Wake Up. Okay, oh, it was fantastic, the inner child, and then I wake up and so on. It was a really great experience. But anyway, let's continue with. Then I went to see a spiritual coach. She was quite experienced and very clever, and also quite young, to be honest with you. She was just finishing her, to be honest, the high school, you know, the A level. So she was 80 years old, something like this, but with a lot of experience. She coached Tony Robbins, Oprah, Martin Luther King, who else? The Dalai Lama, and so on. Yes, I said to you, it was written on our website. There was the picture of those people, and also some comments, some testimonies of them. So how come it's wrong, you know? So it's impossible, it's false. So it was true. She was really experienced. But the thing is, she was a little bit confused, to be honest, because she was always talking from one side to another. True light, twilight, true light, false light, true light, false light, darkness, light, darkness, and so on. And honestly, it was like a stroboscope in my mind, and so on. She blinded me a little bit, to be honest with you. So and after a while, so she awakened me for many things, but in parallel of that, she confused me in many things. She created anxiety within myself and so on. The fact, you know, not to be really yourself. The true I am the best. I'm sorry, this is my true I am. I'm sorry to say that. I do apologize. It's not my fault. if your life is shit. It's not my fault. So I am, the true I am is the I am the best. So, and she tried to confuse, same, she was jealous, I think, and she was young. But the thing is, actually, she was confusing, and also the fact, you know, always to be, oh, the ego is bad, so you cannot be exactly what you are, always in the present time, always, you know, in the unconditional love. To be frank with you, I did like a burnout. I did like a overdose of unconditional love, to be honest with you. So I completely shift to unconditional hate, hatred, you know, and I wanted to destroy the world, everybody, and so on and so forth. So hopefully, thanks to the synchronicities and so on, one of my best friends, Diego, he loved video games and so on, manga, Japan culture and so on and so forth. So yeah, Japan is kind of the other Chinese, you know. Anyway, so, and he explained me, because he was a fan of Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, so he talked about a middle way, middle path, you know, and actually it was interesting because, to make it short, avoid extreme and go to the middle. Okay, so I alternate, I rotate in between. One day I do unconditional love, so I love everybody. I want to kiss with hug of light, even the dictators and so on, everybody. And then the day after, I just hate everybody. I want to destroy everybody. The kids, I want to kick them and so on. But it's okay. It's okay. You know, all correct. So anyway, so I just try to adjust myself and so on. So I download a lot. I download a lot of information thanks to this awakening. I became alchemist and shaman as well. I already have a certain experience of that. No diploma for the moment, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter properly. So it's intuitive way, you know. I download, like in Matrix, for example, yeah, languages like this by English. I just started 3 weeks ago, so you can imagine, and so on. So I do cards, for example. I can do a little test if you want. Okay, I do for you. Okay, so I just check a little bit. Okay, so let's see. Okay, okay, so it's for you, not for me necessarily. Joker. Oh, okay, sorry. Oof. Again, Joker. Is a bad joke. Oula. Joker. Third time. You know, in French we say the shortest story are the funniest. Come on, four Joker. Well, anyway, it's trap, or what's the fuck? Okay, but anyway, let's continue. Okay. It's for you, especially for male, huh? If you can see what I mean and decipher what is it, the queen, huh? You queen, your girlfriend or your wife and so on. What is that? Diamond. It's gonna cost you a lot. A woman costs a lot also, always. What is that? Clubbing. You're gonna club. You're gonna do a lot of party animal. Spring breaker. That's cool. Wow, and fair enough. For the last one, oh, we are lucky, you know, it's lucky days, your day, you made my day. What is that? Is infinity number, infinity love. It's unconditional love. It's a sign, there is no coincidence. Wow, so let's continue in my intuitive things. I'm channeling as well, okay, so, by the way, notification, the guides. Message from the guides. No, sorry, it's the neighbor. It's the neighbor. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Ooh. 2022, the year of the change. Oh yeah, I see a lot of changes. Oof. Oh la la. Ooh, a lot of suffering. And a lot of happiness as well. A lot of death. A lot of birth as well. They say, okay, the new era arrived, has been delivered. The new era, the new paradigm is there. The awakening is there. Nothing to do, wait and see. Okay, we are here. That's great. Okay, what else? love each other, that's it. We do the job, we did the job. Great! Wow! Wow, what did I say? Wow, what did I say? I need to watch the video again just to see what I said. Yeah, I have a remembrance. Yeah, something like love each other is so deep, right? It's so deep. And by the way, synchronicity with the last card, everything I told you is interconnected. As long as you start to unfold the common thread, everything changed forever. So anyway, you know, just one thing, you can also send me some to support me, because so far you're only 10 people, you are my swallowers, okay? And by the way, if you just send me like $2,000 per month, let's imagine at the end of the month I'm making $20,000, so it makes me surviving, let's say, and I can do a lot of things and I can teach you as well. But anyway, I have a lot of projects like this. So we do, for example, with Yolanda, we do containers of presence. What is it concretely? I launch, it's a kind of heal, okay? So I heal a treatment, and I put this, my presence, in a container load, you know, like 20 feet or 40 feet and so on. It's like kind of logistic, you know, from and combining my presence with the quantic emptiness from Yolanda with her methodology and so on. So, and it's working super well. So, by the way, I'm so afraid that someone cheat us and take this this good opportunity and good idea. So, I have a lot of treasures like this. So, if you want, I propose a course for which is quite an investment, but anyway, I will teach you how to, you know, I ask you $2,000 per month, but you could do exactly the same with someone else and asking $3,000 and you will make a lot more money. So this is what I can teach you. And, you know, one thing very important, this is from Aristotle or Socrates, I don't know. You know, we have the life we have, okay? So if you have a shitty life, it's up to you. You had to work at school, and if you don't, you can also hurry up a little bit, okay? Just watch, like, subscribe, and as you know, probably all the roads lead to Rome, the Rome. Thank you for your attention. And send a lot of money and subscribe, don't forget. Thank you, bye-bye. What the fuck? You're doing so much noise. What is that? I'm trying to do my job here. You know, I'm selling some awakening course and you piss me off. How come? What is this fuck? Okay. What is that? Oh, John, you will short this. I don't want to see that, otherwise, you know, it's a bit confusing. Oh, hey, Jenny, you make a coffee and you hurry up, please. Okay, thank you. And it's disgusting here. Come on, hurry up. You cat.